Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're listening from or logging on from, indeed, in the world. And welcome to today's webinar, How to Use Generative Artificial Intelligence to Generate Powerful Insights in Infrastructure Engineering Projects. Today's event is organised by FIDIC's Infrastructure Global Platform in partnership with multinational software and services corporation Autodesk. And we're going to find all about how AI is helping to deliver better infrastructure engineering projects. My name is Andy Walker of Infrastructure Global, and I'm delighted to be chairing this webinar on a subject that I know is highly topical and very interesting for our industry. Today, we're going to hear from some top industry leaders about how generative AI is being used to deliver powerful insights in infrastructure projects. With the infrastructure sector more and more leveraging AI across architecture, engineering, construction, and operations, our speakers today will offer a timely overview on how the use of AI technology is making a real difference to the infrastructure sector. I know we've got people logging on from all across the world, and you're all very welcome. And we're looking forward to your questions and comments in the chat a little bit later on. I'll explain how things are going to work during the webinar in a minute. Suffice to say, I think we're all aware that AI has tremendous potential to produce really powerful insights in infrastructure projects by leveraging its advanced analytical and predictive capabilities, as well as, well, quite an incredible capacity to simultaneously interact with a vast number of portals through APIs. Generative AI can improve design, operations, project management, environmental impact, and decision-making processes in all areas of the infrastructure sector. And we're going to hear a bit more about that during the course of today's webinar. We've got a very knowledgeable speaker lineup for you today. First, we have Guillaume Joubert, who is the Senior Infrastructure Strategy Manager at Autodesk. Following Guillaume, we'll hear from Kevin O'Connor, Vice President for XT Services at Parsons Corporation. And then after Kevin, we'll hear from Edmundo Herrera, Senior Territory Solutions Engineer at Autodesk. And I'll say more about Edmundo and Kevin before they both speak. But first of all, as I said, we've got Guillaume Joubert, who's the Senior Infrastructure Strategy Manager at Autodesk. And he's going to talk about his company's vision and plans for AI and what this all means for the industry more broadly and specifically for the customers that Autodesk interact with. Guillaume is a construction engineer with over 20 years experience in implementing a model-based design approach in the building and infrastructure sectors, from design all the way through to construction. So Guillaume, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andy. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Wonderful. So thank you, Andy, and hello, everyone. Very glad to make that pitch on this FIDIC virtual event regarding our investment in AI, and thank you for your attendance today. Before starting, safe harbor statement, because let me summarize that slide. At sometimes I could refer to forward-looking capabilities. I could provide you information about future things which doesn't exist yet. So the piece of advice is take buying decision when capabilities exist. However, main capabilities I'm presenting today do exist. And if you have any doubt, please check with your partner contact in Autodesk. As Andy talked already here are the presenters. I'm very honored to be accompanied by two talented experts, Kevin, Vice President XD Delivery Services at Parsons, and Edmundo, a Senior Solution Engineer at Autodesk. Our agenda: one, I will talk about our investment in AI. Two, Kevin will talk about how Parsons leverage AI technology in infrastructure. And three, Edmundo will present concrete example in infrastructure engineering. And we will cover a Q&A session at the very end. Okay, when you think about mature markets like Europe or US or Japan, where there is a lot of renovation and retrofit of existing infrastructure assets, If you look at new markets like India or wider in Asia and Africa, where there are many greenfield projects, there is a tremendous amount of work to be done. And we need to deliver more because of an unprecedented demand. But we have less people to do the work to meet this demand, including the younger generation who are not interested in the AECO industry. There is a lot of statistic. It is a global problem that I have even at home. When I asked my first son to tell me about the construction sector attractiveness, and even if I'm trying the digital angle of the profession, the answer is exactly the same of what statistics reveal. It is not the first option for the new generation. And in addition, we have fewer natural resources. So we need to optimize our consumption, especially we need to decrease CO2 emission for global warming reasons and be mindful of assets, embodied and operational carbon. Fundamentally, we must deliver more, but with less time, human resources, materials, energy spent. So the work has changed and will continue to change. But this more with less equation leads to the opportunity to optimize, and we, in partnership with our customers like Parsons, have a role to play in this optimization of resources, time, and manpower. This is the digital transformation. And the digital transformation is not new for Autodesk. It began over 4 decades ago with the digitization of drawing using CAD. And in 2002, Autodesk provided digitalization solutions for the industry with BIM. A decade ago, the emergence of the cloud and low cost of data storage and low cost of computing providing kind of the next opportunity for technology to advance BIM in an open common data environment with connected BIM. But the adoption was initially very slow. And 2020 came along and everything changed with COVID, accelerating the adoption of cloud-based common data environments for online collaboration. This period marked a significant inflection point in digital transformation across various industries, not only in AC. Same year, do you remember? The first free version of ChatGPT was released in November, achieving over 1 million adoptions in less than 5 days and breaking records for technology adoption worldwide. But AI was not born in 2020. The concept was in 1940s, sorry. And in 2009, already Autodesk explored evolutionary algorithm for generative AI. In 2017, research on generative AI began, and leading to the establishment of Autodesk AI Lab in 2018, which has since published over 50 peer-reviewed papers, becoming a leading publisher in AI research for 3D geometry and design. At Autodesk, we are committed to the future where AI is a part of the way we work. And in the past few weeks, the organization has announced an evolution in the organization with added focus and investments in research and development for AI capabilities. Now, with Autodesk technology, you can leverage AI in 2 manners. One, directly with in-house solutions through cloud and desktop interfaces. We branded those technologies under one umbrella named Autodesk AI, and it's built in-house. Or 2, you can leverage our open connectivity to other type of platforms through our APIs, which that offers to all of us the opportunity to connect other AI technologies to solve complex problems from design data in our platform. Now, regarding Autodesk AI, we like to group them through different value for the work to be done, and we like to group them under 3A: automate, analyze, and augment. Let's start with analyze. AI here will help provide actionable insights to end users when faced with overwhelming amounts of complex data, helping them understand what is happening in real time to create the smartest solution. For example, design simulations. I don't know how many engineers and simulation geek we have online, but as an engineer back in my early days of my career, 24 years ago, I remember how long it was to make a simulation for a structural analysis. I mean, I was hesitant before launching any simulation due to the time it will take. Simulation is long and still long, even with hardware progress we have made today. So to make an analysis, and based on our experience, we launch the simulation when we are roughly sure it will make sense, right? And based on ratio or numbers we have already in our head, right? And when you are already experienced, you can already predict what will be roughly the results of that simulation. Today, what if we can do predictive simulation through a new solution named Forma? But unfortunately not in structure yet, but in solar, for example, or wind, or energy, or noise, or mobility, environmental impact analysis. Based on knowledge of synthetic data we are creating through different cities and future design you will make. The machine provides real-time feedback on what would be the results. At the end, AI won't replace the validation work. We need to perform a real simulation to validate the design, which will take more time, but maybe you will explore certain design you would not have explored before, thanks to those predictive simulation. Secondly, automation. AI can help to reduce repetitive work by automating steps that traditionally require manual effort, minimizing error and freeing up more time for creativity and real problem solving. And Scan to BIM at Autodesk is a good example. So through an acquisition with PointFuse, for example, we can extract building objects from LiDAR, which are, point cloud. So the solution recognizes walls, slabs, beams, columns, doors, or windows and transform in an AI model. Or here in the video you see on the screen for linear transportation, the solution extracts feature lines of a road, sidewalk, rail track, catenary, or platform edge. And thanks to those capabilities, we can automate, also automate an object-oriented model creation. That improves dramatically the efficiency for remodeling the existing condition in a world where existing infrastructure needs to be repaired. And third, augment. Here, AI will enhance the creativity and enable professionals to explore more options. Imagine that you are assisted for your daily tasks. Safe harbor statement here, it's in beta, so it's not available today. But this type of new AI assistants can assist directly in checking files in project with prompts. You would be able to even leverage this assistance to write an email. You will see an equivalent use case with Edmundo at the end, which will leverage the natural language processing of ChatGPT to check design standards. And based on the project data you store in our common data environment, for example, you can extract automatically from documents, organizing the requirements into digestible sections to finally being able to leverage part of those specifications to perform and track office and on-site tasks. We can turn ideas in a row into concrete actions. That's what we can do. And we have many more AI capabilities in Autodesk AI to solve that deliver more with less equation. We believe AI is a critical component to tackle that challenge, and we want to provide more. And we want more to realize our long-term vision of outcome-based BIM. The concept is based on AI augmentation and outcomes. The concept starts by defining the design, construction, and operation metric performance. What we can call outcomes consider all the constraints for a future asset. Outcomes can be cost, CO2 emissions, land use, solar orientation, time to construct, and constraints can be existing construction, topography, boundaries, land acquisitions, obstacles, and then generate the design solution which satisfies the range of outcomes and respecting the constraints, and generate only the right ones based on the knowledge of previous design. This is a vision we are already bringing to market with Autodesk Forma, and this vision is already a reality in the planning phase for the real estate development sector. And this is just the beginning. Don't worry, we still need to validate choices in any case with traditional methods, and we won't change their legal obligation. There is no way that AI will make final decisions at all. Consider AI here as an assistant. It's just that you will explore many more relevant options based on an extensive knowledge. And to conclude, as we need to do more with less, we provide already in-house AI technology. And it's not only for our outcome-based BIM solution, as we have Autodesk AI already in CAD or in BIM technology or in our cloud solution. Autodesk AI is just a means for you to analyze quicker and automate faster, or to augment you and serve CAD, BIM, connected BIM, and outcome-based BIM. And that's my final words. Don't be afraid of AI, but learn how to make the most of it. And the only way to build your confidence is by using it. And with that, I'm handing over to Andy. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks very much, Guillaume, for that very interested insight into the kind of things that Autodesk are doing with AI at the moment. And we just posted a link in the chat for our attendees to find out more about Autodesk's AI capabilities and strategies. So feel free to visit that and find out more. Just to remind people in our audience that if you've got any questions for any of our panelists, or you want to make any observations, then please use the webinar chat box, and we'll try and get to as many of your comments and questions as we possibly can during the course of the next, about 45 minutes that we've actually got left for the webinar. But next up, we're going to hear from Kevin O'Connor, who is the Vice President for XT Services at Parsons Corporation. And that's a role where he manages the provision of technical support and training for three-dimensional engineering design software. He's been involved in key design aspects of several major transportation design projects around the world. And today, Kevin's performing a very important role for us. He's going to get behind and hopefully ahead of some of the jargon, and he's going to demystify AI for us and explain how it can be put to real project use in a practical sense. I'm really looking forward to hearing what Kevin has got to say. So Kevin from Parsons Corporation, it's over to you.
All right. And thank you, Andy. Are you able to see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. Again, as Andy had mentioned, I'm Kevin O'Connor from Parsons, and thank you for having me today. I appreciate it, and happy to see so many people joining us. Again, I did want to kind of back up a little bit and kind of talk about AI more at a high level. So AI has been around a long time, and people have heard about this, and there's different forms of AI, from machine learning and deep learning. You know, those are AI applications that kind of can teach themselves and, you know, do a lot of functionality that it's not an area of focus for us right now. The real value in what we're seeing with AI right now is in the generative AI and the generative design. And in generative AI, it's going to be this neural network based to produce information for us from chat GPTs. And the generative design is really simply just looking at a way to analyze several options quickly. So where's the real value in this? You know, there's a lot going on with AI. As everybody knows, it's a hot topic. The value that we're looking at here at Parsons right now is that we just simply want to use AI to help us generate content, evaluate the content that we generate, and then help us perform these repetitive tasks that can be very heavy lifting, if you will. The AI engines or chatbots are what we're using, and these are very powerful tools to help with a lot of this. Again, there's several other types of AI out there, but the chatbot is our initial focus. And I kind of want to share what it is that we're doing with that at Parsons. So the big misconception with AI, everybody says, well, AI is great because it can produce all these wonderful insights to information out there. And absolutely it can do that. But the power is not just in those insights. The insights are valuable, and you can take that data. It's formatable. You can do a lot with it. I'm sure everybody's used some AI to help with text or generate some content. But the real power comes with the APIs. Having the ability to use APIs and interact and create actionable information and publish it to the cloud. And the example we're going to talk about here is actually how we can connect to ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud. So how do I take this information that I've generated, shared, produced, and turn it into something with more valuable? Everybody's going to say, well, I can produce a document with AI. Anybody can do that. How do I turn it into something else that has more value? And that's what we'll go into with a little bit more detail. Now, to do that, again, we're using chatbots. And there's a lot of AI and chatbots out there. These are some of the most common ones that you'll have heard about. But it's important to kind of really talk about the differences and why did we go in a particular direction with one of these. And if we talk about Copilot, I'm sure everybody's heard about Microsoft's Copilot. It's AI functionality that Microsoft developed. Actually, they did invest in OpenAI technology to get their algorithms. They do use the algorithm foundation that's there, so they do have a partnership. However, theirs is a bit different. So the Copilot technology is AI used to enhance Microsoft's ecosystem. It's really intended to aid you as you use their products, from Word to Excel to their email tools, any of that. That was their primary focus. Does it have chat capabilities? Absolutely. But their focus, again, was enhancing their tool set, as it was with Gemini. Google has their Gemini tool out there. Theirs is it's a pre-trained algorithm that is trained on their proprietary information that enhances their ecosystem, which is the Google searches, the YouTubes, maps, things like that. It's not really intended to be a kind of a chat bot. OpenAI is the direction that we're moving in. OpenAI has some advanced functionality that makes it much more useful for us. So basically, it's really just conversational AI. And what do we mean there? You literally can just kind of talk to it. You talk to an OpenAI chatbot, and it understands how you ask it questions and talk to it, and it can respond in a similar way. It's very good at answering questions, generating content. You can actually use it to help with coding, but it also is very powerful with the API capabilities. So what do we mean by a GPT? Another new technology out there, or a new term out there that everybody talks about. It's just a generative pre-trained transformer. Well, that sounds ugly. What does that mean? And it's really nothing more than a chatbot with a wealth of information. These chatbots are just algorithms that have been trained. They've been pre-trained with information. A lot of that information is information out there on the web. They get trained with all this data. They use that data to create results for you. However, they've got all this information, but they really don't know what to do with it. You can ask them questions and they'll kind of spit back information, right? But it doesn't know how to do this. You kind of have to massage it a bit. So how do we turn this into something more useful? Well, we want to take a chatbot. It's already been trained with a lot of information, but we want to train it with more information, or actually just make it aware. Training is kind of a bad term to use there because they've been pre-trained. They're not being trained with information you give them. They're becoming aware of that data. So if I can give a chatbot additional information and ask it to do something with that, and then turn it into something that's a bit more actionable for me, that's the real value. And this is just a brief slide that kind of summarizes the differences and the advantages and disadvantages of each of these. But again, the point here is that the OpenAI technology really is geared much more towards the API capabilities. Not to say that the others don't have this or won't have this eventually, but right now, OpenAI platform was a much better platform. So now we're talking about, okay, we're going to start putting all this information up there. Well, the last thing that we want to do is put sensitive information up there that should not be exposed, should not be made aware to other people. We work on highly sensitive projects. That data needs to stay secure. OpenAI has that capability, and they do that based on the type of a tier of subscription that you get with them. If you get a certain level of subscription, they will promise you that this information is not used to train their algorithms, and it's not shared downstream. Now, what can happen, and there's a lot of free ones out there, and you could put information up there, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that information has become aware for other people to see it. It means that it's been exposed, that these people that develop these algorithms may use that data in the future to train their AI technology. So you've exposed it. So you do want to make sure that you keep this secure, have some level of security, one, so that the data you share is not being shared elsewhere, and two, that when you get out of these sessions, that data is purged. So at Parsons, what we did to kind of meet this is that we've developed our own internal GPT solution. It is based on Microsoft's Azure cloud system. It's an internal chatbot that has the security protocols that we need so that we can put sensitive information in it and get results that we're after. The primary uses that we've initially started with the GPTs is really to help with things like proposal writing, job postings, project execution plans, helping generate emails and things like that. Foundational techniques, very simple stuff. The direction we're moving is we're tailoring this much more and developing custom GPT capabilities to leverage some of additional powers, such as using these APIs to make connections to ACC. The value in that is that I'm now able to consume information, connect it out to ACC, and turn it into actionable items that our project teams have value in. At the end of the day, what is it that we're really doing on our projects? As critical infrastructure jobs, my background, that's what we work on. We plan, we design, we construct, and we operate. So how are we using this technology to help us with that? We're focused right now in the planning world and the design world. How can this AI help us right there first? That's the biggest value to us. That's the direction that we're going. And Edmundo is going to get into some examples of how we've been developing some custom GPTs to help with that. But again, at the end of the day, I cannot stress enough that please always check with your own company's policies on this, because you do not want to start exposing a client's sensitive information in some place that it should not be. So these GPT companies can tell you one thing, but make sure that you do have a security level there. And I'm going to hand it back over now to Andy and let him introduce Edmundo.
Thanks very much, Kevin, for that. And I've certainly learned quite a bit from your explanation of some of the different kinds of AI sort of applications. I'm sure that many of our audience will have varying kinds of experiences of AI, and please do feel free to share some of those in the chat, and maybe kind of riff off those with any questions that you've got as well for any of our panelists. It's really interesting to see how this technology is actually developing and how it's actually influencing not just the industry itself, but how the industry works and the people within it as well. And we'll maybe get into that a little bit during the conversation and the discussion a little bit later on. Before we do, though, we're going to hear from Edmundo Herrera, who's the Senior Territory Solutions Engineer at Autodesk. As I just said, Edmundo is an engineer. He's got 2 decades of experience in civil engineering projects. He specializes in software implementations, support, consulting, training, and deployment for global clients in infrastructure projects. And he's going to talk about how they're using AI technology right across the project process and how it can help with design, submissions, corridor optimization, the whole gamut of what they do as an organization. So, Edmundo, really interested to hear from what you've got to say. So over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Very well. So, okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Andy, Guillaume, Kevin, for the invitation, but most importantly, thank you all for joining in. Again, my name is Edmundo Hura. I worked for Autodesk almost 14 years, and together with Guillaume and Kevin, we've really been proactive since many months ago, more than a year ago, on starting to really be proactive towards using all of these technologies for infrastructure, specifically for infrastructure, although they can be used for mechanical engineering, because the concept's all the same. However, our experience, like it was presented, and that's the basis of the summary of the seminar, I'm sorry, it is infrastructure. So having said this, please let's understand one thing, okay? When I took, my first steps, presenting this to clients, and they said, okay, well, you know what? You have a problem. All vendors have a problem. First of all, if I use AI, user A, user B, user C, and user D, they're going to have different responses because they can ask the bot, they can request information in so many different ways. So you have that problem. And the second problem that you have, even if you find a solution, it is okay, so what? I have all these insights, like Kevin and Guillaume were saying, we have all these insights, but they're floating out there. That's meaningless. We really want to do something with all the insights. Okay, so bear that in mind. You have to be consistent, and then not only the insights can be floating out there, you have to be doing something tangible with all these results. Kevin stressed it. Insights by themselves are, people or customers are not interested. It's transforming insights into actions. That is the true power of AI. That's when you leverage, technologies to the fullest. Okay, insights into actions. Remember that, quite well. Okay, so in order to do that, in order to solve this problem, so went back home and started thinking, okay, how do we really resolve this problem? So you have to understand that based on these two, the foundation of these two requirements, the one solution that encompasses both is, building custom GPTs inside of OpenAI. It's building your own custom GPTs. It's not, request information, just without direction. Okay, so custom GPTs, what are they? They're inside of OpenAI. They are inside of GPTs. It's a paid version, inexpensive version, and Kevin went into those financial avenues then when he explained the different types of GPTs sections that are out there. Okay, so we resolve this using custom GPTs. What are custom GPTs? Well, they're inside your own icon, if you want to call it like that. If you want to just relay it to one simple definition, they are just icons that have a lot of information. But this information can be summarized in 3 sections. The first one is instructions. You write it in any language that you want, in just a natural language. Then you feed all the knowledge that, up to 100 files here that you can place, and then you can pre-train it. Pre-train it, it sounds intimidating. It's nothing but uploading information to it so it can think based on your instructions. But the true power, even if we resolve this, like, customers were requesting, it's meaningless. The true power comes right here. It's when you transform all those insights and immediate formatting capabilities into actions. And you do that by leveraging OpenAI's schema section, which is transforming, all that data into actions. And how do you do it? with the schemas, talking to other vendors, to other portals through APIs. So it's a bridge, that is reduced. It reduces the gap between, the insights and the actions. It's doing it through APIs. Okay, before we get into, generative AI, Kevin explained what generative design is. And these are the bases that Autodesk is really, really leveraging on, based on the algorithms that are intelligent, optimized, and then the real action, the real project that we're going to be presenting is how it resolves corridor optimization. And this applies to any infrastructure project. So look at this, okay? What do we, the biggest challenge is, to come up and design a optimized route between an origin and destination, when it's really, really complex terrain. And then on top of that, we have, areas that cannot be invaded. That is a very complex task to really start resolving, okay? So you have this requirement, just finding the optimized route between points A and B. And then from here, you also have multiple restrictions. On top of that, you have a design speed. You've got a typical section. Then you have, maximum grade. You have also avoiding zones that you are defining. And also, if there's large cuts or large fills, you can even say use, tunnels and or bridges. Now, even to make it even more powerful, we've added, construction costs into all this data, into this pool of variables that once you have defined them, it takes everything to the cloud, and in less than 30 minutes, because it evaluates hundreds and hundreds of thousands of solutions, it really computes the optimized horizontal and vertical alignment. And not only that, it also does all the earthwork, coming up with the final reporting on earthwork costs computed for, for the hauling schema diagram. What is it to borrow, to, the waste, you define the borrow and the waste. And of course, since you have a horizontal alignment, a vertical alignment, a typical section, which really obeys the the type of, the design that you are computing. It computes all the PVIs, the horizontal properties, curves, PIs, spirals, all the tangents, respecting what? It is respecting all the restrictions that you have applied. So you can imagine it is a true horizontal alignment, like I am, just highlighting at this point. And of course, you can build all the animation from here. Once the data has been optimized, you can take it directly into very detailed design using civil engineering roadway tools, in order to check for drivability, and also to comply with the standards. So look at this. Think about it this way. What do we do in infrastructure projects? We plan, we design, and we submit. So this covers the complete planning phase, with intelligence, and making it extremely complex. It takes, this project was done in Chile, in South America, and it takes really months in order to even come up with, a solution. Instead of, 30, 35 minutes tops, it stops and gives you the best possible solution out there. So this is already part of our, pool of solutions that are out there. It's available. And then when it comes to critical optimization of route optimization, it's really a fantastic tool. So this lays down the ground for generative design. Okay, that's what we're doing, and we're building up on this. And we're going to be building more. As Guillaume was talking, as Kevin was talking, we're going to be building more and more solutions. But these are the base algorithms that we will be, leveraging to produce many more solutions. Now, okay, out there, we come back, with Parsons. What did we start doing with Parsons? We said, okay, we're moving on to the next phase, which is design. And I know people are really interested. I saw some questions already being asked towards what I'm going to present. So Parsons and Autodesk started saying, well, you know what, we can certainly start exploring, this design phase. How do we start really addressing all the problems that may arise and that take, massive amounts of time reviewing and also really complying with all the rules and regulations out there. So what we are about to present is how you can use right now, you can use custom GPTs. Remember, it's one click and one click only, that it has embedded into it all the drawing standards. You just upload a file and it has all the intelligence to find discrepancies. Now, remember, if we stay just, analyzing, that is just a very, very narrow point of, of analysis. That's nothing. You have to transform. If you have problems, remember, you are reviewing, okay, design. If you have any problems, then immediately take them into, transform it into actions. And how do you do that? You use APIs to send all these problems to a common data environment that has a lot of members inside a project, and everybody would know immediately that there is something that is non-compliant. You find problems, and then everybody knows that there's problems, and then you hold somebody accountable for. And that's, the massive, benefit using this. So if you don't do it like this, it's just a way, the traditional methodology of reviewing, which is time consuming, it's prone for errors, very complex standards, and then high resource demand, and you just lose traceability. And that's what customers were saying. Even with all the insights, what do I do with them? I can easily lose traceability, and of course, I cannot even, send it massively to all the project members. So that's thing of the past. Look at this. So Parsons and Autodesk started saying, okay, let's test this let's start testing all this concept in a massive project. It's 13 miles, in Honolulu, that, you can, it doesn't even matter what the project is. But look at this. This is the Honolulu Rail Transit project that we started exploring. And then, based on their design, we started saying, okay, how can we really start leveraging and then automate the auditing process? And this is the way you do it. Let me show you. So, we decided to encompass even more, not even just talk about a specific civil engineering solution. So what we did is all the horizontal alignments, all the vertical alignments, we exported them to a neutral file that, as you may know, this is a land XML file. It is the neutral way of how surfaces and alignments communicate. And you can see that just digesting an information from a raw XML file, it is extremely complex. So that's a task right there, to start reviewing complex data. Number one. Number two, parallel to this, you got the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation Regulations. So it's about an 85-page PDF document that, it takes forever, to digest and start comparing. So, remember, in very simple terms, what we do is we consume the information created by, civil engineering softwares, in an XML format, and then look at this. One single icon. One. Okay? Simplicity is the best. It's the best sophistication, right? Simplicity. One single icon. This icon, or custom GPT, has been trained. It has the rules and regulations, Hart's rules and regulations. Number one, it also knows how to extract data, the tangents, the circular curves, the spirals. It knows how to extract that as well. But, remember, that's beautiful. It gives you all these insights. However, it has the best instruction out there. If it finds non-compliant geometry elements, it automatically sends them to a common data environment that everybody in your project will be aware of. So as long as, of course, you grant them permissions. And look at this, without hesitation, without any mistakes, just click once on this custom agent, and what it does, all you have to do is, of course, bring in the data, and the rest, you don't even prompt the bot. That's the difference between the traditional GPT and a custom GPT. A custom GPT has instructions on what you do every time, all the time. Okay, so it extracts all the desired geometry from the uploaded XML, tangents and radius, and it says, okay, I've successfully extracted 23 tangents, 22 curves, and guess what? Furthermore, I am going to compare it automatically to the rules and regulations that are embedded in your GPT. And look at this. Once it finds all these problems, it finds the non-compliant problems. You can imagine scanning all those, those sheets are inside a PDF, and then also at the same time extracting all those elements and then comparing if it's compliant or not compliant. But look at this, what it says right here. Since there are values that fall below the acceptable minimum standards, now it's going to create an issue. It's going to inform the project. And this is where you send it to a common data environment. In this case, like Jan and Kevin were saying, it's Autodesk Construction Cloud. So all you have to do is click confirm. I give you permissions. Have I typed anything? Zero. It's zero prompting. Everything with one single click, analyzes, compares, and then assigns accountability. Everyone in your team will automatically know that there's a problem and you better fix it, okay? So if I go to this common data environment, I can see that automatically, without people having to interact with it, with this, with this massive common data environment, you don't even interact. It automatically places them, as problems that need to be fixed. So it audits, and then assigns, the auditing problems to people based on rules and regulations. Again, remember what the requirements were. Be consistent, zero prompting right there. I don't even type anything. And then not only that, so what? This is the so what. It automatically, creates problems that need to be fixed in a matter of seconds or minutes. So that's the initiative we've done with Parsons. Okay, and then finally we're going to be submitting the plan, the design, and then the submittal review innovation. Look at what you can do. This is just a diagram. It's simpler than it looks. Okay, so you have a civil engineering roadway software that you extract the elements, that you create reports or on geometry properties, but also you have joint elements. Then you take them to a custom GPT, and if it finds problems, the same thing. It addresses them automatically without you or the users having to even type in a keyword as it's doing this. So look at this. Not only do we want to review design, we want to review submittals, right? Okay, so if I have any, and I mean any project, I am drawing something. And these drawing, you can have hundreds of thousands of vectors. They have all these vectors have to be compliant with drawing standards. Everybody has drawing standards to comply. And then, so what you can do is you can extract all this information with all the properties that you want. You can even filter which ones you want. And then that creates a file. Then again, we go into a GPT, a custom GPT that has been pre-trained to comply with standards. So it has all this information. It has, in this case, it has the rules and regulations for drawings in the state of Texas. And all you're doing is, okay, from the file that you extracted, based on your drawing, it creates the file, you upload the file, and it reads the contents. It compares these contents against the rules and regulations. And guess what? It found discrepancies. Once it finds discrepancies, oh, it says, okay, don't worry, I'll take it from here. I'm going to send them to make somebody accountable for without you even thinking about it, so that everybody in your project will know. Remember, actions, insights without actions are meaningless. And that's how you are taking everything that was computed and used in your project, that you make them accountable for by turning them into actions. But not only that, sometimes as part of the submittal process, we also have other requirements. If it's not vectorized, like the previous example, many times we have PDFs that are extremely complex to review. You can see right here that you have stamps on all these sheets inside a PDF that we really, it's really complex, time consuming, complex, and prone for errors, extracting all this information and reviewing if it's correct or not. You have this information, okay? So you have not only the stamps, you have also the title block information that you have to review. You have to be reviewing. Said okay, and it takes on average like 3 hours per PDF to review it. Not a problem. Remember, what we're doing is we are reviewing submittals. So in a second, it can tell you with a pre-trained custom GPT, it can extract all this stamps, all the information, and not only that, it extracts the title block information. So it's sometimes it's really consuming to review each and every single box in your title block. But look at this. Okay, so it extracts the sheet, the drawing, design by, the drawn by, check by, and you can easily pinpoint the problems. If there's one of the fields missing, okay, you know what, you're missing exactly this on this sheet, and it's going to automatically create the issues. It also creates the stamps. The stamps are on every single sheet, and PDFs with hundreds of sheets, to extract this information rather than automatically visualizing all this information in the table. Now, same PDF, okay, it takes a lot, and I mean a lot of time to also start reviewing not only the title blocks, not only the stamps, but you can also start reviewing if you have duplicate elements in your PDF. Believe it or not, it extracts, it has the capabilities, artificial intelligence, to pinpoint in all the duplicate elements. And also, if you have overlapping text, which is very complex to pinpoint, and of course you need to be reviewing all these elements before they go into construction, well, you can certainly do that as well. And you can have both of them in the same GPT. I just created 2 GPTs to show that they the true power of each one. But it scans all the sheets in the PDF and says, okay, you know what, you got a problem. You have duplicate text in this sheet, you have duplicate text in this sheet. Remember, although it's extremely powerful, customers are not interested just in insights. I need you to transform all these problems into actionable items. And you do it by sending them to a common data environment in your project, which is residing on the cloud, so that everybody would say, oh, by the way, I can even automate an email telling everybody that there's this problem and somebody has to fix it before submittals. Okay, so it immediately creates all these issues, and if I just click on this link, it takes me to all these issues that were created. And by the way, it automatically even places a description. It tells you exactly what the issue was referring to, and then all with a simple click of a button. That's what I wanted to show. And I'll take it. I'll turn it back to you. Okay.
Thanks very much indeed, Edmundo. I think we got an indication there of both the complexity, but also the absolute power, really, of what this technology can actually do within the sector. I mean, I'm someone who's I use AI now and again, in my journalistic role, and it's been used more and more in journalism. There's all kinds of issues there that around accuracy and everything else, which we don't have time to go into at the moment. But one of the things I do want to ask our panelists about, and that is, there are obviously some challenges around using AI, and data is obviously one of them. The whole issue of AI is built around data. How do we address the issue of a lack of quality data, especially when you consider that in the infrastructure sector, data can be scattered, inconsistent, or even outdated? I'm going to put that question to Guillaume first, and I'm going to have to ask our panelists to be very brief with their answers because we've only got limited time and I want to get through a few of the questions. So Guillaume first on that data question.
Well, yes, we don't have lots of time. So it depends on use cases, Andy, obviously, and on AI domains we are talking about, right? Because if we enter in the machine learning area of AI, you are potentially right. But what is common is that you need data integration and centralization, right? That's why it's so important to have a cloud-based, highly connectable, and open common data environment. This is what Edmundo talked about, to go back from insight to actions, to aggregate data from various sources into a connected but centralized, in a way, repository. So this helps to ensure that all relevant data is accessible and can be analyzed collectively. And data standardization, obviously, but data cleansing and AI can detect defaults that can be used. Look what Edmundo has made with this ChatGPT check on LandXML. AI is helping you, to verify, the data, the quality of the data. So, and actually, it's not really only a AI problem when you think about it, but it's also a BIM problem, right? What do you think your decision will be if you have garbage data? So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And AI can be a first help you to check if you have quality data, and from insights that leads to action if you connect to a common data environment.
Thanks, Guillaume. I've got a question for Kevin, and this is kind of an industry question, really. Cultural barriers maybe around the implementation of AI. Our sector, engineering construction, can be seen as traditionally conservative and maybe a little bit resistant to change. In your view, Kevin, is there any skepticism or fear of adopting AI over established methods that maybe we need to overcome?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do see that out there. With any new technology, there's always going to be resistance. That happens. People are afraid of new stuff. I've always done it this way. Why do I need to change? And that's why, honestly, we're doing this kind of stuff. We want to share what it is that we're doing with it, give people a comfort level with what the capability is with AI. We're just harnessing a tool. AI is just a tool. At the end of the day, though, you need to verify what it gives you. A lot of the testing that we've done, that Edmundo and I had done, we got very different results each time we could ask it the same question. It is still important, and I can't stress enough that you need to verify the results. Eventually this technology will get there. It's being sprinkled into a lot of the tools that we use. But yeah, there is resistance there, and it's a sales pitch. You got to show the value. We see the value as designers, and we want to use that. It may not be something that we pitch to clients quite yet, but they slowly will get on board, hopefully.
Thanks, Kevin. A quick question for Edmundo, and this is around, the kind of integration, interoperability challenge, really. Can we get AI tools to integrate with existing BIM, GIS systems and other platforms? How can we be confident that it's all going to seamlessly link together and do the job that we want it to do?
Well, if you remember the concept of, custom GPTs, it has the knowledge. So you can feed us many, many different types of data inside, the partition that really holds the brains to come up with the insights. So, it pretty much accepts any type of, document or format or extension. So you can feed us many, up to 100 documents. And they based off of that, this overlays with Kevin, really understanding in verifying all these results. But, you can upload as many documents as you want, 100 documents per GPT. And then based off that, you can start inquiring. So it's, again, the common data environment, be organized and then feed the GPT to come up with right solutions.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm going to ask Guillaume a final question, really, to kind of wrap things up for us. And that's to say, there'll be many of our participants in this webinar, our attendees, will be thinking about, they've either, they're using AI now, they're thinking about how to apply this on their projects, in their organizations. How can they actually, take this to the next step? How can they really get into it? How can they be, where should they start with all of this? How can they progress and really integrate it in their day-to-day activity? And maybe give us some, final comments from yourself, Guillaume, just to before I wrap things up.
Well, Autodesk is investing in AI since more than a decade. We have already, lots of AI technologies actually, which can help you to analyze, automate, and augment you in CAD, BIM, and connected BIM, and that starts with using a common data environment that we always repeat that part, but that's really important to centralize information. So yeah, and don't be afraid you of AI, but learn how to make the most of it. That's the reality, and use it. And AI is already here. You can leverage it right now. You have seen some examples, but they are far to be exhaustive. I mean, I have more than hundreds of technology in Autodesk. I'm not aware about all of them. But AI is already there. We will be even a more critical, it will be even a more critical component of our long-term vision for outcome-based BIM. So don't be afraid. Use AI.
Thanks very much, Guillaume. This is a massive subject, and I know we're going to return to it. We're going to write about it more on the Infrastructure Global website. So please do visit us there and check out some of the stuff that's going on. Also, we put the links in the chat earlier to the Autodesk website. There's an absolute treasure trove of information on that website, really accessible, really interesting stuff, and you can find out all about what those guys are doing with AI at the moment. I just want to thank this afternoon all of our speakers. I want to thank Guillaume from Autodesk, Kevin from Parsons Corporation, and Edmundo from Autodesk as well, for sharing their insights and thoughts with us today. As I say, I know it's something that we're going to return to again in the future. I also want to thank as well, obviously, everyone who's logged on, in whatever the time zone that that they're in at the present time. We'll follow the webinar up with a bit of a summary of some of the key points in the discussion. But for now, from me, Andy Walker, and from the whole team here at Infrastructure Global and FIDIC, I'd just like to say once again, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you soon at another event.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.